an order. This motion, my Lord, was filed on the 12th day of November, praying this honorable court for the following reliefs. An order referring the substantial constitutional questions raised in this trial to the Court of Appeal pursuant to Section 2952 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and an order staying further proceedings pending the determination of those referred questions. The supporting affidavit was deposed to by my younger brother, Prince Nnamdi Kanu, together with all annexures. My Lord, my written address filed in support of the motion, wherein I adopted and argued the three jurisdictional issues submitted to your Lordship for your determination. There was also a further and better affidavit and my reply on points of law filed in answer to the respondent's counter affidavit and written address. My Lord, I respectfully urge your Lordship to deem all these processes as argued and to grant the reliefs exactly as set out on the motion paper. And in a brief overview of what is contained in my motion, my Lord, my contention is very simple. That ab initio, this court lacks jurisdiction to try me, that this very court is a material defiance of an appellate court judgment, the Supreme Court, with specific regards to count 7, which does not exist in the laws of this very country, and which the Supreme Court mandated this very court to amend. That hasn't happened. The presence of count 7 on this charge sheet, my Lord, nullifies this entire proceedings completely and totally, because count 7, my Lord, does not exist in the laws of this very country. When I reply on points of law, I will make specific references to the ratio that came down from the Supreme Court, where my Lord Lawal Garba explicitly stated that count 7 should be changed. That hasn't been done, my Lord, and this court is in contempt of the Supreme Court binding order. My Lord,
the president of the appeal court, Honorable Justice Monica Bolala Mesam, is from Plateau State. I believe he should be a Christian. That's the president of the appeal court, having served in different parts of the country. I think before he left to where he is now, he was the appeal court judge in Enugu State. From the composition, we have over 41 appeal court judges within Nigeria. Then having over 20 jurisdictions or more than that within Nigeria. We are in different states, scattered in different states all over. So what we are saying at this point in time is that Honorable Justice Monica, a woman who happens to be the president under this era, if you look at what is happening within the middle belt, people are also affected, but by what Nnamdi Kanu stood against. So if you feel otherwise that you are going to also entertain or motor show within that, panel to manipulate the process or even take instruction from, remember the Nigerian Judicial Commission is still there. Yes, I know that everything is being controlled by the federal government and the presidency. Some level of damage on the side of judiciary. Whether it will be reclaimed or not, we still have the Supreme Court to face at the end of the day. So it's not where nobody's begging that you should do everybody knows the right thing to do on Nnamdi Kanu's case, because this is not the first case that we have seen the federal government taking a decision. A clearer one is that also a more recent one is that to agitator who has been granted, and in fact the federal government have just announced that it's never on the list.
for official fee.
So it's left for you
registration
to do the right thing and know what to do. I know that virtually all the judges in that Supreme Court are whether there's any problem. Either Yoruba or the outsiders. That is just it. But the first thing remains that Nnamdi Kanu is and his presence applicable to the to me like the office appearance in court. If it is about justice, if it is not about justice, if it is not about oppression and suppression, then we should be left granted unconditional free to do. And on second note, Nnamdi Kanu should not be seen to be running back to because now give him and I've never seen anywhere in the East where the High Court judge in Federal High Court
The atmosphere in Abuja is thick enough to cut with a knife. And if you are watching this right now, you need to sit down because what is happening at the Federal High Court today, Tuesday, January 27, 2026, is the definition of a legal thriller. The headline you saw is not clickbait, it is the reality on the ground. Breaking, Nnamdi Kanu in court today, January 27 live. Will court move Kanu to Abuja today? The battle for the custody of the IPOB leader has shifted from the question of freedom to the question of location, and the drama inside the courtroom is explosive. We are broadcasting this breaking update directly from the Federal Capital Territory, where the legal team of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, led by the indefatigable Aloy Ejimako, has launched a desperate bid to rescue their client from what they describe as the Sokoto exile. As we speak, the court is buzzing. The Department of State Services SDS operatives are everywhere, masking their faces as usual, but the focus is on the empty dock. Yes, you heard me right. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not physically in the courtroom today. He is stuck hundreds of kilometers away in the Sokoto Correctional Center, and this absence is exactly why we are here. The core of today's hearing is a motion that could change everything. Kanu's lawyers are arguing that keeping him in Sokoto, far away from his legal team, his family, and his doctors, is a calculated attempt to frustrate his appeal against the life imprisonment sentence handed down last November. Barrister Ejimako stood up moments ago and told the court, "My lord, how can a man appeal a life sentence when his lawyers have to travel through bandit-infested roads to Sokoto just to get a signature?" He argued that the Sokoto option is not just a prison sentence, it is a wall of silence built to cut Kanu off from the world. But here's where it gets interesting. The federal government is pushing back hard. They are arguing that the transfer to Sokoto was a security necessity. You will recall that in his ruling last year, Justice Omotosho explicitly stated that Kuje prison was not suitable for Kanu because of the risk of jailbreaks and his influence on other inmates. The government is doubling down on this today. They are telling the judge, if you move him back to Abuja, you are inviting chaos to the capital. The tension in the courtroom is palpable. Every time the judge scribbles in his notebook, the entire room holds its breath. Is he going to reverse his own order? Is he going to grant the prayer to move Kanu back to Kuje or at least to a facility in the southeast? The whispers in the gallery are loud. Supporters of the IPOB leader who managed to get into the court premises are looking anxious. They know that if this motion fails today, Nnamdi Kanu could remain isolated in the northwest for months or even years while his appeal gathers dust. Now, I want to pause and ask you a very serious question. Do you think the government is keeping Kanu in Sokoto for security reasons, or is it a strategy to break his spirit and cut him off from his support base? Be honest. Drop your thoughts in the comment section right now. And if you are enjoying this live breakdown of the legal fireworks, please do me a massive favor and smash that like button. It helps the video reach more people who need to know the truth. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you are the first to know the moment the judge bangs the gavel. Welcome back. Let's talk about the Zoom factor. Since Kanu is not physically present, there was a heated argument about whether he could address the court virtually. His lawyers demanded that a video link be established from Sokoto so Kanu could speak for himself. They want the world to see his condition. Reports reaching us suggest that Kanu is eager to speak, to tell the judge that he is being denied access to his case files. Imagine trying to fight a life sentence when you can't even read the judgment against you because your lawyer is a 12-hour drive away. That is the picture Ejimako painted for the court today. The judge has adjourned for a brief recess to consider the argument, and the suspense is killing everyone. If he rules in favor of Kanu, we could see a massive security operation to airlift him back to Abuja within 24 hours. If he rules against him, it means the Sokoto exile continues indefinitely. We are also hearing rumors, unconfirmed for now, that foreign diplomats from the UK and US are observing the proceedings, especially after the recent Christmas Day airstrikes and the new US-Nigeria Security Pact. They are watching to see if Kanu's human rights are being respected even after conviction. As we wait for the final ruling, remember this: today is not just about a prison transfer, it's a test of the Nigerian judicial system. Can a convict be punished with isolation on top of imprisonment? We will be here to bring you the verdict live.
The development today, yes, Nnamdi Kanu is very sad from the news, and I can see he's appearing in the court today. I think the first thing that we need to be understand about his appearance today is that, I think he has to appear at the federal, High Court, sitting in Abuja currently, where it will be argued that he should be transferred from Sokoto prison, maybe to Nnamdi prison within the Abuja axis, possibly Kuje, prison. So from there, then the process of appeal will actually come into the picture. At the end of the day, a lot of people have said it very clearly that we don't know the intentions of Bola Ahmed Tinubu on this matter, because we don't know why James Omotosho should be transferred, to the appeal court, where Nnamdi is expected to commence the process today after arguing in the Federal High Court over his transfer to allow him have frequent and access, to his appeal, processes and protocols, and possibly, getting lawyers to formally defend him and make everything very clearly now. But apart from that, we do not want to stay much within the axis of, waiting or what the Federal High Court is trying to talk about, at the end of the day. But what we are saying at this point in time is that, on him stepping into the appeal court anytime, any day, today, now, we are expecting the appeal court president, a woman who happens to be from the Plateau, Honorable Justice Monica Masem, Bolanle, yeah, if I'm correct, but that's her name. But that's her name, to have a direct influence, because it's not a one-man thing anyway. It's the majority that carries the vote when it goes to the appeal. The woman too should look at it very well, that if she is not under federal government influence on to determine what will happen in this matter, we're expecting that Nnamdi Kanu will be set free today. Walk free, grant him bail, and let him be, because there's no jurisdiction to entertain a matter like this again, because we have seen a lot of interest, condemnation between and outside the country. There's no law that Omotosho actually relied on to pass that judgment. So the federal government is trying to ignite, a kind of crisis within the judiciary by drafting the same person, of questionable character, always issuing controversial statements, threatening the Nnamdi Kanu often and on, in that judgment is being drafted to the appeal court. Yes, I don't rule out the hands of Igbo politicians in this, trying to make sure that they continue the operational suppression. This is not something, again, we should be, it's no longer funny, because it's a direct threat, on the justice for Nnamdi Kanu, on the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu. I think it has gotten to a point, now that he is a U.S. citizen, to get the, yes, I know that it have little or no effect on it at the end of the day, but what we are seeing that watching on Nnamdi Kanu, as you can see him, very clearly is healthy, and the U.S. can, issue an ultimatum that he should be handed over to, at the International Criminal Court, and it should be handed over to world court judges, and Nnamdi Kanu should be granted a bail, based on the fact that what he's asking for is self-determination, and it is, his right. So the U.S. government can also do something in that regard. Our world leaders can also do something in that regard by ordering that, Nnamdi Kanu's trial be transferred to world court, sitting in Hague, and the intervention of the ICC on that matter, inviting Omotosho and the Nigerian government, for questioning over illegal rendition of Nnamdi Kanu that was not determined by the court in the first place. So they don't have any jurisdiction for trial in the first place, and that is what it is all about.